Home, the gold.
He could be too far. No, he's kicking. Oh, what a catch!
Puts a spicy forehand out in front of Naomi Morcilla.
Wu for the win. Team Canada. Darren Wu!
Santos with the layout grab.
Oh, that fantastic grab. The claws of Chaffer.
Canada just became the world champions.
Canada and the rest of the world. You're listening to the Huckin Heart podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Theo Wan, living in Kingston, Ontario.
And I'm Danie Farby from Vancouver, BC, and we are your coast-to-coast guide, all things Canadian Ultimate. Speaking of Canadian Ultimate, I had the ultimate event this weekend. But before...
No, don't even talk about what happened with my weekend. Let's talk about your weekend, the ultimate weekend.
Okay.
There are a lot of Frisbee players there as well, but
tons.
They were celebrating something special right there, right, Dan?
Yeah, so Ari and I got married. It was super fun. Honestly, we got legally married on the Friday, and then we got married with our friends and family on Saturday. And I was able to invite quite a few of my teammates, and so was Ari. So we had a lot of Furious and Traffic players. We had a lot of kids that we've coached over the years be there. So it was really fun. There actually wasn't that much Frisbee in the event itself, with the exception of two things. Our cake was a Frisbee, and it had our logo and everything on it.
Classic.
And it was delicious. And I think there's going to be a photo of me in my dress catching a Frisbee in the air. That's the only... It wasn't hokey. We didn't do a lot of Frisbee stuff. I'm sure Frisbee was mentioned in some of the speeches. My mom, shout out to her, did a music video as her speech to Sexy and I Know It, where her and some people in her strata and my relatives and everything performed in this music video. My mom rewrote all of the lyrics for Ari and I and played it at the reception. It was epic.
As someone who works in the media, that's going to take a lot of hours. So you got to give some shout out to your mom, which you just did, because that was probably a lot of work to make that happen, and especially to rewrite the lyrics.
Yeah, and she doesn't really know the song well, so it was extra funny because it was all really off. Because that song's pretty quick, all the verses, and there's a specific cadence to it, and she missed the mark the entire time, and it was awesome.
Tough.
No, it made it way funnier. And then she has these people in her strata. It's an old person strata. They're all looking all gangster. Strata is just a community. And they're all older, so they have walkers and everything. They can't really move much, and they're wearing all this gangster clothes, and they're dancing and pretending to rap, and it was amazing. It brought the house down. So wedding was great. Ari looked stunning. I was 10 out of 10. So good vibes all around. Good party afterwards. Shout out to Nathan Klakovic for hosting our after party as well.
Is there going to be a sweet epic highlight video that he produces the great ultimate highlight videos? Maybe there'll be one of the wedding,
Nah, he got to be a guest. So he got to participate as a human being, which was good for him, I think. So yeah, it was really fun. Ari and I leave. I mean, by the time this airs, we probably will have already left, but we're going to be doing a nice road trip to the States. Hopefully going to see some national parks, Yosemite, do some hiking, hang out with our dog for 2 weeks. And then we'll be back for kind of Christmas. How are you?
You've taken a lot of flights this summer, so
I know.
Looks like you're more ready to just be on the wheels here.
I was definitely over flying. We thought about doing a more traditional honeymoon, but just being with our dog and just being the two of us out in nature seemed a lot more appealing.
Well, there you go. Danie had a great weekend. We're gonna probably, by the time this airs, you'll also see a post about it. See some of the great pictures from the event. Hopefully, Danie remembers a lot of what happened there. You had a lot of fun. That's what I hear. So. We're going to jump in today. We're going to head to our news shortly, and then we're going to talk college awards with two winners of the Huckin Heart Award, one that's near and dear to both of our hearts here. And this will be a wholesome, good episode. So sit and enjoy the warm and fuzzies there in the main event. But before that, we're going to head to the news right now.
We now have breaking news.
Welcome to the news section. Not a lot of news these days, and that's okay. It was an action-packed summer, an action-packed fall, sometimes we just need a little bit of time to rest. But one team specifically is going to get a lot more rest than they would have before. So in sad news for some, no more Outlaws. So Theo, do you have a little bit more details about this? All I saw was a couple of sad Instagram posts from people. It kind of seemed like it was out of nowhere for a lot of them. Do you have any insider information?
The insider info I'll give you is what's already kind of been given through the AUDL website. So some of you probably haven't seen that. So just with the climate of a smaller market team and trying to make costs and ends meet just makes it a little bit difficult. For especially some of the Americans that I'm seeing their reactions to not just Ottawa folding, but Tampa as well, the Tampa Cannons, and they're starting a new team in Texas, in Houston. Generally, the vicinity of things like Ottawa, Toronto, Montreal, they're actually pretty close together. So I think a few people were surprised there were even 3 teams in that just general vicinity of Canada. Obviously, it sucks for some of the people, and I can think of multiple people that played their whole careers for the Outlaws, like a Jeremy Hill, Nick Boucher, a few others that have been longstanding veterans, of Carson Turner, Paul Renault. I can name a lot more. So I know those people are definitely going to be feeling that for the next few weeks and months of just not having that team existing, which is tough. If I'm Toronto and Montreal, I'm kind of stoked right now. I know it's kind of sad to take advantage of someone's misfortune, but now just think about some of the talent of the Outlaws now spreading to these other teams. Could make them a little bit due for a run here in the very stacked East Division. So, as we learn from dealing with adversity, you got to kind of you got to take some time to mourn, of course, but you got to look to what the future could be, right, Danie? So that's all I'm really going to say about it. It's sad news for some. It's interesting to see what state the league will be in the next couple of years. So, it's something to look forward to and kind of see what happens.
Yeah, so heart goes out to all those players. I know that's a big loss of opportunities for those people. I don't have many more thoughts on it than that. Is there anything else in the news? I know the UCC conference happened this past weekend. I know like some of the college teams in the West are practicing, started to lock in their tournament schedules for the spring and the winter. But I don't know of much else. Theo, anything else on your docket?
Well, I just hear that rosters are starting to come out potentially. Is that correct?
Offers are going to start coming out on the 27th of November, and then it's kind of just starts rolling after that. So
there you go. We're going to jump in now to the main event. All the award winners will be, by the time this airs, published an article. So instead of doubling up, we're just going to send you to the article. Go read the article, read all the winners. But the Huckin Heart Award winners are going to get a special place in our podcast because they're going to be featured after the break. So stay tuned for that. Hear from our 2 Huckin Heart Award winners, what makes them passionate about the sport, what they've learned about themselves and their ultimate career, all that coming up in the main event.
This episode is sponsored by VC Ultimate. Now, if you know me, or you've seen me on the field, or you've seen me coaching, you know I'm repping VC Ultimate. VC is a company that proudly puts values and company before profit. VC is the world's best source for quality, design, and all of your ultimate needs. So check out VC to get your gear now.
This is Nick McFadden from the University of Manitoba Open Team, your 2022 CUUC Division I Open Champions, and you're listening to the Huckin A Podcast, your coast-to-coast guide for all things Canadian Ultimate.
All right, folks, we're here in the main event. We're really excited for these 2 guests. They're going to tell us about their story, and it's gonna be good. So we're gonna jump right into it. Intro our guests here. We got Will Dickson, Roxanne Goderre out here repping for Quebec. So we'll let Roxanne, you introduce yourself first. Tell us where you played Ultimate, how long you've been playing for, and then Will, you'll introduce yourself after.
Okay, so hi guys. I'm Roxanne. I play Ultimate since maybe 9-10 years now. I played junior with Team Quebec 4 or 5 years, and now I'm playing with Iris on the summer. I played also Team Canada U20 in 2018. That's pretty much it.
I'm Will. I've been playing for 8-9 years. I started when I was 13. I played my first pickup scrim with my uncle in Nova Scotia, just kind of vacationing. And then I went back to school the following fall and played the high school junior varsity team at Radnor High School and that was like my first experience with organized ultimate. And then kind of just played at high school for 4 years and then just jumped to Queens. And then didn't play anything outside of university until played Outlaws this year. So that's a quick summary of Frisbee for me.
All right. Thank you both for introducing yourselves. First of all, Rox, I think it's crazy that you played Team Quebec for 5 years. Did you say that?
Yes, I said that. I played.
So
yeah.
You must have started, I guess, like at the age of like 13 or something, at like already playing club, which is really cool. So no wonder you've gotten so good so young. So, all right, moving on. I would like to hear, like, we know a little bit more about your backgrounds now, but I would love to hear, let's start with you, Will, how you got started in ultimate. So like your ultimate origin story. Everyone kind of has a different way. Maybe a friend invited them. Maybe they were trying to like just like get some cardio in. They saw it being played at the local park. What was your origin story, Will?
Honestly, earliest memory I have with like getting into Frisbee, I guess, would just be throwing with my uncle in the backyard. He used to play like Mephisto back in the early 2000s and then now plays Ensom, and he was just like teaching me how to flick, and then all of a sudden he was like, dang, like you kind of have a good flick, you should try and play. And I literally walked into high school Frisbee in grade 9, and there was like a local club player named Jeremy Mason who was coaching the junior varsity team, and he was just like, you literally throw a backhand like a dad. And then he taught me how to throw a backhand, and then just kind of like the basic ins and outs. And so I played the junior varsity team for a year, and then played 3 years with the high school varsity team, which was coached by a guy who went by Nacho, and another guy who actually started the Cornell Buds Frisbee team in like the 80s named Mike Yonda. And they were both just like these old veteran Frisbee players who knew all these tricks and just had a reputation for spitting out high quality Frisbee players. Like Trent Dillon came out of our high school, and Michael Lang, and just a bunch of guys loved playing. And I don't know, our team had probably like 25, 26 players. And I always skipped out on playing like YCCs in the summer. Just because like my parents never wanted me to burn out of sports and stuff like that. So when I came to Queens, I was literally only coming in with high school experience, and it kind of showed, because once the season started, I kind of ended up getting kicked around the field by all these like club and junior club players, and I was getting really frustrated. And then after a season of lifting and just trying to get better, it felt like I fit a little bit more at the university level in like second and third year. And then I never played any club until I finally was like, I want to test myself and try it out for Outlaws last winter, because I wanted to just kind of put myself out there and try out for U24s. And I just saw like, okay, like supposedly this team's like one of the top ones in Canada. Like the only thing I can do is say screw it and go for it. So that's what I did, and made it, and then played a whole summer Frisbee. And that's my Frisbee life as of now.
I really appreciate you sharing that. I think that there's something to not burning out. I think burnout is something that we do talk a lot about on our podcast, especially for for young athletes to do a full school season. And I know
Mhm.
how school seasons work in the States is different as well. It's a bit longer than I think in some places in Canada, but going straight from school season into a long club season year after year after year, I mean, you still love the sport. You're still super engaged. And so maybe
Mhm.
your parents did the right thing. I know it obviously caused you a little bit of adversity when you first got to Queens, but you seem like you've overcome it.
I mean, it did and it didn't, because in the tryout for the team, I literally gained the nickname Tryout Dickson because I played like just, I guess, what they described as like otherworldly or whatever in the tryout. Like a bunch of the guys were reminding me like 2 months ago, and they're like, "Man, we thought you were like the next coming of," I don't know, this, I can't remember who they compared me to, but and then all of a sudden I just kind of like faded out of the picture because I didn't have like confidence to play at that level. But like, I think just kind of getting comfortable with all my teammates and the level that I was at eventually just kind of led to growth as a player.
Nice.
Yeah.
And Roxanne, how about you?
Yeah, so I started playing because of my brother. You probably know him.
Yeah.
So he's a lot older than me. He's like 6 years older than me. So he started playing, and he started to show me how to play and how to throw and stuff. So that's how I discovered Frisbee. And then he forced me to do the tryouts for Team Quebec when I was like 13, and I never played before, so that was funny because I was really just running everywhere, and they took me anyway. So I made practice squad for Team Quebec in 2013, and I practiced like once or twice with them, and then I played. There's no Frisbee at my high school, so I played in a league, an adult league, with mostly men. So I got better really quickly by playing with men and people way older than me. So the next year I played Team Quebec for real this time. So all summer I played with them. I played tournament, played my first CUCs, and that's pretty much how it got me started. So and since then I played Team Quebec for the next 5 years, and then Team Canada. I tried out for Team Canada in 2018, and I was really excited for that, and I made it. It was a really great experience, and then I got in Iris when I had the age to be a senior, and I played with them since 2019.
Nice.
That's pretty much it.
So both of you talked a little bit about your high school careers. Will, a little bit of club as well, and Roxanne talking about Iris. But now we're going to talk college, because we're talking college awards here on this episode. So talking college, Roxanne, we'll get you to start first. How did you get started in your college career, and tell us kind of some of your favorite memories from it? For those who don't play University Ultimate, Danie and I will always recommend it because it's a fun time. And I'm going to recommend for your two schools here to go play in the States, because that's where the action is all year round, or for a lot of the years. So recommend that for both of these teams. But Roxanne, talk to us about your college experience here at Laval.
So it was my second year with Laval, but the first year we didn't have CUUCs because of COVID. So I was really excited to play a real season, a real college season. It was really fun. It got me into a role that I didn't have in my club teams. So I had way more leadership. I played handler, and usually I play cutter. So it was really fun for me to just discover something else. And I discovered really great people too. I think it's a really short season, so the bond has to come really quickly. And it's just, we get to play in rough weather, and that's, I think it adds to the bond because we're so cold and there's so much wind that we're like, we can do it, and we keep fighting in teams. So yeah, I love it because it's really short, but it's really fun, and people are great. So
Will, yourself?
I mean, I was just going to build off of what Roxanne said. Like, the short season means you have to build camaraderie really quickly, and chemistry. And I think like some of my favorite memories are just like things we do together as a team. Because like one of the big things that we do early on, I guess, at least from my memory, is just always focusing on getting the team together for like just little events and getting to know each other and just basically having fun early on, just so that like everyone's on like the same page, good terms, and we're all like working towards the same goal. But honestly, like, one of my favorite memories is probably just like the bus rides to events, because like so much stupid stuff happens on there, and it just honestly feels like it's nonstop laughing for a few hours, and you kind of just forget about the fact that you're going to compete for something, and the like nervous energy is there. You can feel everyone kind of letting it out on the bus, and then as soon as that bus pulls into the parking lot, the focus from everyone, you can just feel it kind of oozing out of everyone. You know what I mean, Danie? Like, you pull up to the field, and I'm sure all of us can relate to that, but as soon as you get to the field, you're like locked in on what you've got on for the next like 6 to 8 hours.
You're asking me a question again, Will. So we're going to talk about this a little bit later, but Will is trying to make a pitch to be the next co-host for the Huckin podcast.
I think so. I like it though. And
I do too.
But the thing you brought up was the bus ride. So for people that don't know, Queens has a unique situation. I think there's a couple other schools like this, but Roxanne, I don't think this applies to Laval, but you are required to be transported by like school approved things, right, Will? Like, you can't just all go in your own cars like a lot of college teams are used to. And last year with COVID, you had to travel back and forth each day from a tournament, correct? You couldn't stay in hotels. Is that right?
Oh God, don't remind me.
I am well, that's part of the bonding, you know? So
yeah, like having my alarm go off at 3:45 in the morning, you know, like that really just resonates. Like, I really want to go and get on the bus at 4:30 or 5 in the morning and drive to Brampton. Sure. Like, yeah, thanks.
You can see, if you're watching this, you can see Will saying yes and yeah and shaking his head no. So you can see it.
Oh, my sarcasm's at an all-time high.
Yeah, that's fair. One thing that I appreciated from both of you in answering the question about the college career is, I think you didn't really talk too much about the ultimate. Both of you were mentioning more the stuff that's happening off the field. It's the bus rides. And I know all too well, playing for UVic, driving in a bus to California a couple times a year, how fun and how bonding those experiences can be. And also Rox was explaining how the adversity of the weather and everything brings you together. And I think the fact that both of you two highlighted those types of things is just a really good example of why you're both on this podcast today. So you both were nominated by your own teams for the Huckin Heart Award. And then not only were you put forward by your own teams, but you were both voted by all the other teams in Div 1 as being the winners of this award. So first of all, I want to say congratulations. It's pretty cool. You got to win the inaugural Huckin Heart Award. And for those of you that don't really know what this award is, Theo and I find that this is the most special one for us anyways, when we were designing this awards show. So the Huckin Heart Award is meant for players that give it everything that they have on and off the field. You can see these players because they care with their whole beings. You can hear them because they're bringing energy and excitement. And in order for your own team and other teams to be able to recognize this in you is a pretty telling thing about how both you are as players. And maybe you haven't always been there. Will, we talked to you in the subscriber only section where you kind of talked about your journey over the last few years. So I would like to hear from you first, Will, about what winning this award means to you. For you specifically, and Rox too, but for you specifically to answer it with the kind of lens of kind of experiences you've been having last year, kind of growing up and then coming to Queens, and what it means to be recognized by your peers today for this?
Well, like I was surprised just because like I didn't like
Know
know know what it was, but like also what went into it, because like I don't know, I guess, like what makes someone like worthy of this award. Like personally, all I know is that like if I'm going to go on the field, I'm going to go 100% all the time, regardless of like whether the game means nothing or everything. But then like I also have teammates who I see all the time, like whether they're playing or not, and they're 100% all in all the time. The best example of it would be a guy named Brian Tam on Queens, and he like grinded all of last year and then showed up at tryouts, made a name for himself, and then had his best game against UBC where he had like 4 goals or 5 goals, and we just like threw him on the O line to give him like some experience, and because like he had been there for us all season, and it was just so great to see everyone come around him as he like was having this huge like personal coming out where he's literally just bawling out on the field and just firing the boys up. Like he's throwing down massive spikes in points that have like no business having spikes on them, but everyone's just getting fired up because he's like got the spotlight on him at the moment. It's like, this is sick. Like I love to see this. I've always just thought of myself as a huge like goon, to be honest, just like chirping people, like absolutely having no business being like spirited or whatever. And then I think at the start of the season, I kind of wanted to leave that like no like nickname or like association behind, and kind of just had big time personal growth throughout the season, because I was texting Pete actually once I found out about this, and he said, I mean, do you really want to be known as the goon? And I was like, not really. And then he like shared his like description of me of what he sent to you guys of like why I was nominated for the award. And I just like paused and thought about it, because like I wouldn't have had taken the time to reflect on it that deeply, I guess, but the outside perspective kind of helped, like, I guess, put it together for myself.
Well, let's keep kind of poking at that, because I think this is a good answer. And the fact that your peers are saying that you deserve this award, and your coach is saying that you deserve this award, and you're still trying to like figure out your own identity within Ultimate, I think it's really cool that people are recognizing your growth. And I think that that's an important thing, that like in sports, we can have these opportunities where we can become, you can say, better versions of ourselves in the sport, and you don't get kind of like canceled because you were away. You get celebrated because you're making changes. So I think that speaks volumes to kind of the growth that you've gone through this year. And what does it mean to you to be recognized by your peers?
Honestly, it's a great honor, I guess, because like I can think of like a bunch of people that I would honestly also see being in the same position, just because of like who I know them as people and players, and like just to be recognized by my peers that they feel that I best fit this award is honestly a little humbling, I guess, just because it's never a award that I would have, I guess, seen myself earning. But I guess it just kind of highlights to myself like the growth as a person and a player that I've gone through to reach this point.
Yeah, it kind of seems like somebody held up a mirror to you and it's like, this is what we see, and can you see this now? And I think it's a very important experience for you.
Like I was scrolling through my camera roll the other day and I saw pictures of like who I was in first year as a player, and a few pictures from nationals this year, and I was just like, the person in these old pictures looks a lot different from the person in these new pictures. And I was just like, wow, I really needed a flashback down memory lane to kind of put that together for myself.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Rox, how about you? People have said Rox is the one, and everyone's like, yes, Rox is it. So what was your first reaction when you were told, and then kind of, what does it mean to you?
Well, I was really shook to receive this honor because, well, I put a lot of commitment in all the teams I play for, and I just love playing. I don't do it for prizes. I don't do it to have my name somewhere. I do it because I love playing. So just having my peers recognize that, and as you said, it chose me and said, yes, that's her. Well, that was really heartwarming for me and really special to receive this award.
Both of you demonstrate passion for ultimate. And this next question, you're going to talk a little bit about that. Some people are passionate about it for different reasons. So both of you, from what we gather, from what we hear, and from what you're saying as well, you're giving 100% no matter what the game is, league, club, college. What makes you so passionate about the sport? Like, what drives you to give it your all in this thing we call Frisbee? So Roxanne, we'll start with you. What fires you up about wanting to just play so hard all the time and share these experiences with your friends?
I think, the passion started really, really at the beginning of when I started playing Ultimate. I don't know. I think I loved it instantly, and a big part of it, I think, is the community. So I played for Team Quebec right away, and I met a lot of great people, and we had so much fun on and off the field. And I wanted to do good for me, but for them, for the coaches, for everyone. And I always has been really intense on the field and give all I had on the field. I think also the values, is it how you say, the values of the sports are so good, and that it really attracted me and pushed me to just continue, and always wanted to just do more and more for me and for my peers.
Sweet. And Will, for yourself?
Honestly, at the start of playing Frisbee, I'm not going to lie, didn't really have the passion that some people might have had. But maybe it's because I came from a school that kind of just treated Ultimate as a second-rate sport. It was almost more as if I was like embarrassed of it, to be honest, because like people would be like, "Oh, like you play Frisbee, like you're playing with a dog toy." And I'm sure everyone knows that chirp a lot, but like after seeing, how do you say his name, Danie? Like Kalakovich or
Nathan Kalakovich.
Yeah. So after seeing his YouTube videos and highlights, I was just like, holy, like these people do some absolutely insane things, and like there's so much more like athleticism out there outside of like the basic 4 or 5 sports that just doesn't get recognized. And then I kind of just was drawn to it after that, because I was like, I want to do that. Like, I want to fly high. I want to catch this. I want to make a highlight play. I want to be that person who's got the cannon just sitting there waiting to go. Like, part of it at the start of like getting really passionate was just like all about becoming like the best player I can. But then after it, I think I grew to like understand that there's so much more to it in the community, in the people, and the fact that everyone wants to help each other get better. Like, I think starting playing this year in Ottawa, I was such a like emotionally immature player, and like right away a bunch of the guys and a few of the coaches were like, hey, like I can relate to it from like playing as a younger player, but try like these ideas to help you harness your emotional game or whatever, or try doing this to become a better player in this aspect. And it's just the sense of everyone wanting to see you succeed outside of their own personal success, I guess, is just part of it that draws me to it, I guess.
Definitely relate to the being embarrassed of the dog sport. Also, when you said that, my dog, like, she can't hear, but she must have known. She like perked up and she was like, dog toy. I remember when I started phys ed at UVic, all the other people that are in that program come from other sports, and we were always announcing like what sports we play, and they're like rugby, soccer, volleyball, and I was always like frisbee, and I was quite embarrassed by it. But then, and so I thought I was always judged this whole time for being not a real athlete. And then I find out from them at the end of my degree that they're all like so impressed with my like, anyways, it's just a story that we all tell ourselves. And so that really resonated with me. You've both kind of mentioned teammates and people who brought you into the sport and stuff. So I just wanted to give you both the platform and the opportunity to shout out some people that have helped you get to where you are in your career, either skill wise on the field or kind of like emotional regulation off the field, any of those kinds of things. You want to like name some people, because I think we aren't who we are without the people around us. So let's start with you, Roxanne.
Yeah, so I mentioned it before, but my brother got me into ultimate frisbee, and I think at the beginning he believed in me way more than I believe in me, and I think it may be this way still, but yeah, without him I wouldn't be where I am right now. And he was really, really kind, because I was the little annoying sister, and he just brought me into his teams. So I played with really, really good people at 15, 16 years old. So it helped me a lot. And he was always there to help me progress and tell me what to do to be better and stuff like that. So he really brought me to another level. And also, I think if I can come back to the other question, that's what made me so passionate too, because he is a really passionate player. You can see it on the field. He's always the most intense player. So I think I kind of wanted to be like him. So that pushed me to be the better and more passionate. And yeah, so, and I have the same coach for like 4 or 5 years in Team Quebec, always been Corinne, and she always believed in me also and pushed me to be better, to have more leadership in the team, because she knew I could do it. So yeah, I think both of these people helped me a lot in my career and my frisbee career.
I love Corinne. So if Corinne's listening to this, you're a star.
She was really great to me. And Fish too. We can't forget about Fish. That
she's an icon.
Yeah, she believed in me also when I wasn't sure at all, and I had a lot of I was injured a lot, and she still believed in me, and she still took me in the team and made me play. So yeah, forever grateful for these three people.
Thanks, Rox. How about you, Will?
I think I've got a few people, but I might have to lump a few of them together. I think I want to start with obviously my uncle for just introducing me to how to throw frisbee. I don't think I probably would have ever imagined the possibilities that were possible just from kind of tossing a disc around the backyard. And I would want to thank my high school coaches just for teaching me the basics and kind of just opening my eyes to like the different ways of playing frisbee. And then I'd want to thank Pete for honestly pretty much everything. Like, he's served so many different roles for me, just in terms of like growth as a person and just growth as a player too. And honestly, I want to thank Alec Arsenal and Hagen Rigland from Outlaws, because I think I had multiple conversations with them over the course of the season, just about how to get better on an emotional level, but also on a like physical, like how to do different things in the field level. And then I guess the last one I got to shout out is my parents, because like more than anything, they've just pretty much helped fund all the Frisbee dreams I've had. And I would not be like where I'm at today without their support.
So those watching the video version, you can see Danny's face when these thank yous are given. I can see it warms Danny's heart very much so, like right now. So this is great. I know, maybe an emotional time for Danny, having just been married. Let's go. So getting all the feels right now from all this episode as well. So for the Huckin audience, you got to watch out for these two, because they're honestly just getting started. They're in the college division. They're slinging out in the club. So keep an eye out for both of them. They're going up, as Danny is showing here on the video side. So tell us what's next for your career, any sort of goals you have, teams you're trying to make, medals you're trying to win, lots of good stuff. So Will, let's start with you. What's next for Will Dickson's career?
Honestly, I saw this question and I did a little because I honestly don't know. I kind of set the goal last year of trying out for Outlaws and then using that as a stepping stone to get better for the East tryout for U24s. And then now it's Outlaws is gone, sad face. But also it's I don't really have a goal in mind at the moment. So I'm very much a person who needs that goal to work towards. So I'm kind of just sitting in the moment, deciding what I wanted, more of where I want to be, and then kind of just playing Frisbee wherever I'm at and not letting Frisbee decide where I go.
Healthy approach right there, because I know some people, you hear it with some of the top club stars in the States, they actually move to a city just to play Ultimate, which is cool, but you're choosing maybe the career route. Are you graduating this coming spring? Is that correct?
No, I'm graduating at the end of next fall. And it's not like I wouldn't let Frisbee dictate where I go. It's just that at the moment, I think I've played so much in the last 18 months that I'm on the edge of burning out. So I'm just kind of dialing it back a little bit just to see if I can control the burnout level and still just enjoy what brought me into the sport.
Healthy approach for sure. Danny already referenced talking about burnout. It sounds like you might have a career in podcasting as well. So don't ever leave that there, Will. Roxanne, goals for your career or plans that you have coming up?
Yeah, I also try out for TCU 24 this fall, and that will be really, really great to make the team. That's my next goal. And otherwise, one of my biggest dream would be to make a national team with my brother. So we already talked about it lots of times. And yeah, I don't know if it will ever happen, but that will be the absolute goal for me, to just play with him at a high level. Yeah.
That is neither of my sisters are athletic, so it seems like a really cool thing to try to strive for. And I also appreciate you, Will, for saying right now you're kind of in flux and you're just kind of seeing what's going. And And I think that both of those outlooks are important, to be driven by goals, to have things to look forward to train for, and also to just like exist and see what comes. Both of those things are very fruitful. And I know there's a lot of times in my life where I'm kind of in between and in limbo. It kind of can feel a little uncomfortable, but that's usually where the most growth can happen as well. So first of all, again, congratulations to both of you for winning this first ever award. We're going to have some sort of like thing where we have all the awards over the years, like plaques or something. We'll figure it out. We always talk about these things and then we get busy, but I think that would be a really good way to kind of honor you both, especially. So any final things that you want to say before we sign off and head to our outro?
I want to thank you guys for doing this. I really appreciate it. And yeah, that's really cool. I love it. Thank you guys.
Thanks, Rox.
I also wanted to say thanks. Kind of was just letting Rox get to it before me. But I feel like you guys did a good job with creating this award in highlighting something that's just not as like spoken about or recognized, I feel like, in Ultimate. And like it kind of didn't resonate with me until like midway through this podcast, but I realized like spirit and heart aren't as, I guess, are more of like an afterthought when it comes to something like this where everyone's always caught up in the heat of the competition. So I think having an award that recognizes that was something that was needed, and you guys kind of hit the nail on the head when creating this.
Yeah, thank you both for being here and for being awesome members of the Ultimate community at large and good role models for people, for just being good people and for your growth as well on the field and off the field. So yeah, thanks again. We'll take a quick break and we'll see you all in the outro.
This is Safina Shajani and Jessica Gao from the McMaster Women's Ultimate Team, your 2022 CUUC Division 1 Women's Champions.
And you're listening to the Huckin Heart podcast, your coast-to-coast guide for all things Canadian Ultimate.
Thank you so much for joining us for this episode. I'm going to plug our socials. We're on Instagram, Huckin Heart. You can email us at huckinheart@ultiworld.com. Theo, what did you think of this episode? I know that you have spoken about it being heartwarming. Do you want to be a little bit more specific about why?
You get people reflecting on their lives in a public space. It's actually it's really cool. And something that I think more people can do is just like share how they're, not a perfect person, not haven't done always the best things. Not that these award winners have been bad people or anything like that, but you learn from certain things when in your first year of college or when you first start playing the sport. So having them share that, and also sharing the mentors and people that got them to where they are, like Roxanne having her older brother kind of bring her into the sport. Like, no matter when you see the top Ultimate players, there's always people around them that have helped them get there. So also make sure they get their due as well. So giving some love to the coaches was also cool. So anything from you there, Danie?
Yeah, I guess I liked how different their responses were and how different their journeys have been. I think that maybe makes it a little bit more relatable to me. I took pieces from both of them where I think that I didn't necessarily have the best reputation when I started because, yeah, for whatever reason, it's a passion. You can call it passion. That's the nicest way to say.
Danie with the passion.
And also kind of just really feeling like the right person believed in me at the right time when I was younger. It's just a good reminder for me as a coach to kind of keep having my athletes feel that I believe in them. Because I do. I wouldn't coach them if I didn't fully believe that they had limitless potential on the field and off the field. So yeah, it was a good heartwarming reminder. I agree with the heartwarming sentiment.
Yeah, that's how we're going to leave the episode for this week. Stay tuned for our next episode. I don't exactly know what we're going to be talking about with off season being in tow, but Danie's traveling out in a camper van. Your boy out here just continuing to do the university sports grind. So we'll see you next time. Subscriber only is also a really cool one. More heartwarming for you. Will's actually going to stay on, and he's going to share a bit about the spirit of the gaming experience. in high pressure situations, how he learned to grow from that. It's honestly a really cool story. You gotta subscribe just for that story alone, but there's also other features. You get more podcast extras and access to the whole video library. So if you want to see Danie in action, for example, with traffic, you can go watch her games. Boom. Subscription worth it.
Dump swing. You want to see me dump swing? Hit that open under. I got you. Check out Traffic 2022.
There you go. We'll see you next time.
Bye.